Tiger Woods was the world's most disciplined man in golf. He practiced 12 to 14 hours a day. Everyone was like, I can't believe how much golf this guy plays. But he was the world's most undisciplined man in his marriage. The ultimate definition of discipline is putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problems. You're putting like a level 3 effort into your level 10 problem, then you're not disciplined at all. I don't care how long you can sit in a cold plunge. I just don't care because it's, everything else is entertainment at this point. And it's a perverse form of procrastination.
What if you could reclaim hours of free time each week, create legacy building wealth, and devote more energy to your passion projects without giving up on your career as a life-saving MD? Dr. Vikram Raya is a functional cardiologist, high-performance coach, and real estate expert, is here to give you the tools, strategies, and solutions you need to transform your life, unlock your limitless potential, and achieve greatness, all while freeing up your precious time. Welcome to Limitless MD. Let's dive in.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Limitless MD. I'm your host, Vikram Raya, and today I have a special guest. He's a friend. He's a mentor. He's a gentleman that used to live in Mexico. He lives in Canada. International man of mystery. Some people call him the most disciplined man in the world. I call him my friend and mentor, Craig Ballantyne. Craig, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, you should also call me your co-author. We co-authored the Perfect Week Formula for Doctors.
I was going to save that for later, but let's just go ahead and talk about it. So I read Craig's book, The Perfect Week Formula, and I was just so mesmerized. I'm like, this is really good stuff. I read it several times. In fact, I gave it to most of my clients as their welcome gift. And then I was like,
I appreciate it.
You know what? How do I take it to the next level? And then Craig inspired me to write the next version of the book for my audience, which is physicians and high performers. And so we wrote the Perfect Week Formula for Doctors, which is the ultimate playbook for time and financial freedom. So pick that up whenever you're available. But man, so much good stuff between all of us. He spoke at my event. I've spoken at his events, and he's really.
You even came and saw me in Mexico.
That's right. He's really deconstructed greatness, and he's deconstructed greatness in some of the highest performers I know. Some of his clients are multi-millionaires, $100 million companies, billionaire startups, and he coaches people from health, mindset, wellness, biohacking, you name it. But his claim to fame is really productivity, efficiency, and discipline. And now he's blown everyone away with his new title of his book, which is called The Dark Side of Discipline. Craig, it's creating shockwaves. What the hell are you talking about here? What's this book about? And where did you get the inspiration to write it?
Well, let's start with the inspiration to write it. And first of all, thank you for saying all those nice things about me. The one thing I'll say is I'm not an international man of mystery because I'm an open book. And, so any question you have or any follow-up questions that, your fans have, I'm happy to answer. Here's the deal with the book is everybody who has an Instagram account has seen somebody do a cold plunge or work out twice a day, read a book a week, get up at 5 a.m. And those are, quote unquote, good things. But too many good things can make a wrong. We've all heard the phrase two wrongs don't make a right. Well, too many good things do make a wrong. And what I saw in not just one of my friends, but multiple of my friends, I tell one story in the book about a guy, but I've seen this in many times, is that people are doing all of these things. They're chasing all of other people's habits and routines. They've read about Tim Ferriss's morning routine and this guy's morning routine, this guy's morning routine. I saw something on Instagram yesterday about Jack Dorsey's extreme morning routine. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, maybe that's the missing link. Maybe I have to get up at 5 a.m. and do an ice bath while reading a book and drinking a green juice all at the same time. And they lose their focus on what matters and they start chasing another person's definition of discipline. And chasing someone else's definition of discipline is the least disciplined thing you can do. And so there is a dark side to discipline. And I even went through years of too much discipline. I had a workout streak that I talk about in the book of 1,000 days. I was working out when I was injured. I was working out in weird places. I talk about, being I used to go to Europe every summer and, the flight overnight from Toronto. And then I had a connecting flight from Copenhagen to Lithuania, which I always went for an entrepreneurship camp. And then when I got there, I knew that I was going to be busy with the entrepreneurship camp. So I was working out in the Copenhagen bathroom airport. in the bathroom of the lounge, and it was like so ridiculous. Like, come on, bro, just relax. And I was chasing the disciplined dragon, trying to be the most disciplined. And there's no gold medals for that. Instead, Naval Ravikant has a really great quote that the only sign of intelligence is that you get what you want in life. The only sign of intelligence, or the best sign of intelligence, is that you get what you want in life. And I think that you can replace the word intelligence. The best sign of discipline is that you get what you want in life. And so we reclassified our definition of discipline in the book, which is the ultimate definition of discipline is putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problems. So everybody has a level 10 problem in their life, and it could be their marriage, it could be their business, it could be their practice, it could be some relationship with a patient or a business partner or a real estate deal. Everybody has a level 10 problem. Could be their own health. And what you need to do is you need to sit there and identify that. Just think about it right now. Okay, what's the thing that keeps you up at night with anxiety? What's the thing that's really causing you the most amount of stress? And then on the flip side, what level of effort are you putting into solving it? So if you've got a 15-year-old marriage that's on the rocks and you're out there cold plunging and exercising twice a day and reading a book a week and doing all these things, chasing somebody's internet definition of discipline, and you're not having the difficult conversations with your spouse, and you're not reading and rereading the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, and you're not, trying to surprise and get the spark back in your relationship, and you're putting like a level 3 effort into your level 10 problem, then you're not disciplined at all. I don't care how long you can sit in a cold plunge. I just don't care because it's, everything else is entertainment at this point. And it's a perverse form of procrastination.
I was going to say, I remember that language pattern that you shared, that perverse form of procrastination. So what that means is, some people procrastinate with Netflix, but us overachievers, us high achievers, we say, I got to do my morning routine. I got to do all these things because it makes us feel good and we feel accomplished, but it takes away from, hey, how much time are you spending with your children? Do you have a rocky marriage, or what's going on with your finances? But that's harder,
your own health.
Scarier. Yeah. Instead of dealing with these things.
Yeah. And it's so much easier for you to get a good feeling by putting like a level 5 effort into a level 2 problem. Like, whether it's starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, writing a book. For a lot of people, they say they want to do this stuff and it doesn't really matter to their life or to their business. Not right now. It's not a good fit, but they're going and doing it because starting something makes you feel good. But, when the hard work comes around, when you're done writing your first draft and, now it's time to like edit it and promote it, that's the hard work and people don't follow through on it. They go and find another thing to put a level 5 effort into a level 2 problem. So they get a dopamine hit. But that level 10 problem, it's very hard to see progress on it for a while. Like, you got a, again, 15-year-old marriage that's rocky and, you're really just like roommates, who shuttle your kids around. Okay. Listen, a lot of people have been there. A lot of people get there. I don't want to get there ever, but I know that a lot of people have. And so I think about it all the time. And if you've got that marriage and it's struggling, going and reading the 5 love languages and doing something about it might not have a great response. So the level 10 problem, it takes a lot of effort to get it and turn it around, but it's the most important thing. And so I love the way that you describe the perverse form of procrastination. I call those people wild horses, right? They want to do everything. And sometimes they just get carried away with doing good things. Again, we're talking about doing good things that cause harm. And it's not because you want the good things to cause harm. It's just that they consume your energy, your time, your money, your focus, everything. And it takes away from what really matters, your big why, your specific definition of success. And it stops you from achieving your big goals and dreams and your life vision. And when I see people do that and lose things in their life, like I talk about my friend in the book who lost everything, he lost his family because he was doing too many challenges and too busy at work and his wife left him with the kids. Like, that breaks my heart because they just wanted to do good, but they were doing the wrong things and they got kind of thrown off track by the internet.
I want to push back here a little bit, Craig, on just the concept of discipline. Some people think, hey, these challenges, they inspire me. They make me want to be better. And it's a way that I gamify discipline since I don't have much of it, and I'm learning to develop it. It's bravery training. What do you say for those kind of folks who are using it as a tool, perhaps? Oh, and maybe they don't know about the potential misguidedness of the strategy.
Sure. So what I found is that the challenges are most helpful to people that are drowning and need a lifeline, right? Like the people that are severely overweight and obese, the people that are alcoholics, the people that are addicted to things. Those challenges are great because they completely pattern interrupt somebody's life. If you're somebody who's looking for a specific edge and you're already 6 figures, 7 figures, multimillionaire, and you just want to go to the next level, this is where you have to realize that discipline is very specific and it's not transferable. And I'm going to say one name and you're going to go, oh, I get it. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was the world's most disciplined man in golf. He practiced 12 to 14 hours a day. Everyone was like, I can't believe how much golf this guy plays. But he was the world's most undisciplined man in his marriage. And so the discipline that one develops is not transferable. It is specific to the action that you are taking. It is specific to the action that you are taking. And what that means, most of it is like it's nervous system and systems. So, for example, every night before I go to bed, I set up my morning drinks. I set up my hydration. I set up my coffee cup. I get everything ready. So that's a routine that I'm building a system around. Now, I also forget to do it for some other things in my life. And that one system that works for my drinks, because I don't have it in another area, doesn't mean that I'm going to be super disciplined and structured and organized. And another way to think about it is you have a bad habit. In most cases, we all have these bad habits that we had when we were younger. Maybe when we came home from school in high school, we went in, we grabbed a bag of potato chips and we sat down in front of the TV. And now, like 30 years later, you find yourself doing it. And that's the bad habit you can't kick because it's so ingrained in your nervous system. Go home, walk in the door, go to the cupboard. You don't even think. You don't even think about it. And it's the same with whatever habits and confidence we're building. Those things are okay, but there's a better and faster way to fix the actual problems that you have in life. And that's the most important thing is, okay, great. Yeah, I can read every day for 10 minutes. Awesome. So I feel confident about that. But that still doesn't fix the marriage. That still doesn't fix the health. That still doesn't fix the finances. It still doesn't fix the dispute you have with your business partner. And that's where it becomes that perverse form of procrastination. The final thing I'll say is, in the book, I use an extreme analogy that, imagine you're in the kitchen, you're preparing dinner, and you chop your finger off. You can either go and drive yourself to the hospital, the easy way of doing things, or you can go and develop some mental toughness by, walking in your bare feet through the snow to the hospital. Which one are you going to do? You're going to drive to the hospital as fast as you can because that's the fastest way to fix the problem. And so whatever it is that you think the general discipline challenge is helping you fix, is it? Is the specific problem being fixed by the general?
Right.
If it is, hey, by all means, who am I to judge? But if it's not, then understand that you might generally improve your confidence and habits, but they're not specifically solving the problem.
Let's talk about the effortless discipline system and also talk about maybe how your environment, how you can curate an environment that can almost not need willpower. So let's break that down. I know you've had some examples of I think it was the worker, they have a break, they immediately go grab a cigarette because that's been programmed and primed to do. And it's very
right. That's the continuation of what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the continuation of what we were talking about, when I grew up, I grew up on a farm. We didn't have a lot of money. In the summertime, when I was going to college, I would work at a factory, the best paying job I could get to pay for tuition. And at 9:10 every morning, it's still happening today at the same factory that exists, the brake horn goes off and the people go out to the designated smoke areas. Now, if somebody wanted to quit that bad habit and they just said, okay, great, I'm not going to smoke today. As soon as the brake horn goes off at 9:10, they don't know what to do. right? Because the nervous system is brake horn, just like Pavlov's dogs, right? The brake horn, go put my hand here into my jacket, grab cigarette, walk outside, talk to my friends, smoke cigarette, get stimulation, walk back inside, and now I can make it to lunch. If I say I'm not going to do that, well, what the heck am I going to do? Most people don't think they have to replace a bad habit with a good habit, and that's part of the systems. And so they'll default back to the bad habit. So we have to circumvent it. I call it a doom loop, and you have to have a circuit breaker to get out of it. And so those circuit breakers are one, for any bad habit, we focus on elimination, we focus on planning and preparation, and we focus on accountability to somebody you deeply do not want to disappoint. So we eliminate the bad habit. We say, okay, I'm not going to buy cigarettes. I'm not going to hang around those people. I'm not going to be in that environment, because people and environment are probably the two biggest contributors to most of our bad habits. When we're around certain people, we get overwhelmed by the crowd and peer pressure, and we do those things. Whether you're out with somebody for dinner and they're like, you want to not have dessert, but they have dessert. Now you're kind of screwed. You don't want to drink. They're going to have a drink. They're going to peer pressure you into having a drink, and so on and so forth. And so you have to plan and prepare. You have to communicate that in advance, whether it's by email, in advance of the dinner or whatever it is. But you have to plan and prepare for, like, they're going to peer pressure me. How am I going to resist that when I'm out? I have to do it if I want to make this change. And so you have to come up with multiple solutions for every obstacle. You tell them in advance. You tell them you've got to drive home. You tell them that you're only able to stay till 8 o'clock. You move the dinner up to 5 o'clock if you possibly can. All these things that you possibly can do to move the environment into your favor to overcome the negative that's going to come at you. So the elimination, the planning and preparation, and then the accountability. So, somebody's listening, they're part of Vikram's coaching program, and they don't want to drink anymore because, drinking is doesn't just make them not feel great the next day, but it's actually a real problem in their life. It leads to a lot of other problems, and it's a serious, serious issue. They do this planning and preparation. They eliminate the negative environments and negative people. But then, alcohol is a serious, serious habit that gets ingrained in us. And so knowing that every morning I have to send a message to Vic and say, did I drink last night? If yes, why did I do it? I'm going to have a greater chance of resisting alcohol because I know that I have to check in with somebody I deeply do not want to disappoint in the morning. And that's a missing link. Being in a tribe. You've built a tribe. It's amazing. It's super powerful. It gets people to take massive action. And I will say, we honor the challenges in our book, and we talk about the benefits of being in some of these online challenges. And the greatest benefit, when used properly, is that these challenges often have communities associated with it. And you go in and people support you. And that's what most people are missing from their lives. If they want to change habit X and they spend all their time around people that do habit X, they will never be able to change. It takes like a unicorn to have the strength to be able to change from that. You have to start spending time around people who don't do the bad habit and who do good habits. And by making that shift, that's the biggest system of them all. And technically it's effortless because all you're doing, you don't have to have willpower or discipline. You just have to hang around different people. And research shows it that Harvard research shows that if your spouse is overweight, you have a greater chance of being overweight. If you hang around cigarette smokers, you have a greater chance of being a cigarette smoker, alcohol drinker, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And on the flip side, if you hang around people that exercise, you're going to exercise.
So proximity is power. It's like I think Sharon talks about the 5 chimpanzee theory where you're going to be the 5 chimps you're around. So choose your chimps wisely, right? And it's also who you reference yourself into, who's your reference group. And that's why people in the military, people who are in Navy SEALs, who are in the Marines, they have the highest discipline when they're in that structured environment. The moment they come back, their environment changes and their standards, and we should address that too, standards trump discipline sometimes, right? Or trump willpower.
Yeah, we say that standards eat discipline for breakfast. And we use another extreme analogy, which is, you put 2 people in a room, give them no food for 12 hours. One of them's a vegan and one of them eats a regular diet. And then you put a cheeseburger in the room. Well, the vegan's not going to eat the cheeseburger. It doesn't matter how hungry they are, how good it smells. They're not going to eat it because they're a vegan. They have a set of standards. The other person's going to sit there and just try and like white knuckle through willpower as long as they can, but they're eventually going to crack and eat the cheeseburger. They were trying to rely on discipline. The other person had standards. It's a no-brainer who wins. And so standards are these set of codes, almost like a personal operating system. Like a computer has an operating system that it doesn't go outside of the operating system. Like when this happens, this happens. When this happens, when this happens, then this happens. And it's the same thing that we can build for ourselves, our own set of higher standards that it's reflected in our identity, that I'm the type of person who does this and I'm the type of person who doesn't do this. Like I am the type of person who doesn't drink, period. End of story. Doesn't matter who I'm around. I simply don't drink. I am not a drinker. I'm not judging other people that drink. I'm just saying that I am not a drinker. Therefore, I do not drink. It's not, oh man, like I kind of wish I could have this. Maybe I'll have a little bit. No, it's 100% out. And that's the standard. And the standard is the standard. And my standards are my standards and your standards are your standards. And, you need to come up with them. Like my mom, every Sunday, she went to church. Every Sunday, you go to church. That's what she does. That's her standard. The end. Nothing gets in the way of it. It was non-negotiable. And so you have to think about setting really powerful non-negotiables for yourself that you aspire to achieve. You will have to build effortless discipline systems to make sure that you build that, ingrain that habit at first, because if right now you do drink and tomorrow you say, well, I'm not a drinker, it'll be a little bit challenging at first. It won't take long for you to develop that identity, but you need to have those systems in place, the accountability, the elimination, the planning and preparation. Otherwise you fall back into those old bad behaviors.
So, Craig, a lot of my clients, a lot of the listeners on this podcast, they're physicians, they're high entrepreneurs, high achievers. Probably they're going to ask, what's the biggest mistake people make when they're trying to get more disciplined?
That's a great question. And so I've covered one, which is the chasing other people's definitions of discipline. The biggest foundational mistake is that they haven't stepped back and done the thinking. And the thinking is, what's my big why? What's driving me in life? What is the most important thing in my life? Because my friend who went and did all the discipline challenges and had his wife walk out on him, he wasn't thinking of his big why. He should have realized, like, I'm a family man. My marriage and my kids are the most important thing to me. And therefore, if I want to do this challenge, great. But if I get into this challenge and all of a sudden it means either, make sure that I do all the activities today on day 17, or go spend 30 minutes with my family right now, I'm going to choose making sure I do all the activities on day 17. Huge mistake, right? We're sacrificing our big why. And then that's when we end up in huge amounts of trouble. So we get our big why. Like, what are you really doing everything for? It could be around your family. It could be around the mission that you want. Maybe you want to cure cancer. By all means, have that as your big why. Obviously, Elon has some wild big whys of, going to Mars and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of people have big whys that are not just family. Just because mine is doesn't necessarily mean somebody else's is. But you have to think about what really matters to you. Those are your values. And then you build that perfect life vision that you've done with me. And I talk about a little bit in the Perfect Week Formula. And we talk about in this book as well. But just have a clear, very clear movie script for your life that you should be able to tell me what your life is going to look like in 3 years from now. And that's the movie script, because then I can watch the movie. You tell me, I'm going to live here. Our family's going to look like this. Here's my income is going to look like this. My business is going to look like this. Here's what I'm going to drive. Here's what our house is going to look like. Here are the vacations I take. Oh, great. I see exactly how your life looks. Here's what we do. Here's what we don't do. Perfect. Here are our standards. And then give me a specific definition of success for the short term, for the next 90 days. What is it specifically you want to achieve? When someone comes to me and says, I want to be more disciplined, that's a generic statement. Okay, I could give you 1,000,001 things that will make you technically more disciplined, but they won't really matter to you. So when you say you want to be more disciplined, what does that mean? Oh, I want to be off my phone after 7 p.m. every night because my kids, are bugging me for being on the phone when I'm with them. Okay, great. That's a specific definition of discipline. And now we can go and build systems to make sure that you don't, run into that trouble. and we can make your life better. But if you just say, I want to be more disciplined, I can say, great, go work out twice a day. That'll make your life worse. And so those are the things that are most important. And then the last thing I'll say, Vic, I always want to bring this up when I'm talking to folks, is that not being able to say no, not being strong enough to say no to more opportunities and to people's requests for your time where you sacrifice time with others that are more important, that's a killer. So you must develop the strength to say no to things that don't matter. And I get it. You know, we're ambitious people. We're wild horses. We want to help everybody. We want to contribute to everything. And I'm still guilty of this today. There's something on my calendar right now where I'm like, I really need to, even though I've said yes to it, I need to go back and cancel it because it interferes with something that's more important to other people around me. Because I just want to do it. You know, it's like somebody asked me, I'm like, yeah, I can do it. But improving your ability to say no and filter things is incredibly, incredibly powerful. You know,
I could be the highest form of discipline, you know, learning to say no.
It is. And so that's why I know you mentioned that we might talk about Charlie Munger. I use Charlie Munger in the book as the example of he was the world's most disciplined man. He's passed away now.
For those of the guys who don't know, Charlie Munger was Warren Buffett's partner for many years. He recently passed away. But it's interesting, like a lot of people think like, you know, the most disciplined person, you know, in the book they talk about, in The Dark Side of Discipline, they talk about, you know, these like hardcore guys, these, you know, the cold plunges, the 4 a.m. clubs, all of that kind of stuff. But he references Charlie Munger as this ultra disciplined man, and it's unorthodox why he says that. So I'll let you finish the story.
Yeah,
Craig.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, Charlie's whole thing was just avoid stupidity. And he used to have this little joke. He would say, I just want to find out where I'm going to die so I can never go there. And that's the ultimate no, right? It really is like saying no. I just want to know what not to do so I can avoid doing it. And, you know, his entire investment strategy with Warren Buffett was wait until the opportunity is so obvious that then you go invest in it. So they want you to say no. And so Charlie did not have six-pack abs, and he would not do a cold plunge. And he, you know, I don't know what time he got up, but he had everything that a man could want: money, power, respect, family, children. He had it all. He had everything that you could possibly want, but he never did any of these things that people would consider disciplined. But he knew what his definition of discipline was, and he ran his own race. And that's another phrase that we use quite a bit in the book, is that the definition of discipline is to figure out your own race, figure out your finish line, and run your own race, even if it means running in the exact opposite direction of everyone else in the world. And that's really what it is, man. Like, you know, Charlie Munger, I'm reading this book called From Barista to Billionaire. It's a really good book. The story starts off with these two guys who are from Canada, and they just became billionaires because they modeled their business after Warren and Charlie. And they're actually flying down to see Charlie Munger. And so they go to Charlie Munger's house when he was 97 years old. And it was a 3,000 square foot bungalow in Los Angeles. It was in a wealthy area, but it was a small house. I don't know if I'm sure maybe he had other houses or whatever, but they go in and Charlie's wearing he used to buy $49 shirts from Costco, but then he found another company where he could buy them for $39. And he says they're just as comfortable. And he had a $30 wristwatch on, and he was a director for Costco. And until he was about 90 years old, he flew economy on Alaska Airlines to the board of director meetings. Like, this guy ran his own race. Like, man, that's like he was comfortable in his own skin, in his own skin to the ultimate level. But he was very disciplined in his approach. He didn't do things that were outside of his circle of competence. That's what he and Warren always preach: stay inside your circle of competence. And yeah, you might miss out on a few things. They missed out on a lot of tech stocks because they didn't know, they didn't understand it. But they made a whole lot of money in Coca-Cola, which they understood, and they understood, candy and a whole bunch of other, Dairy Queen and Fruit of the Loom. They understood that stuff, and so they had a system that worked for them. And so I don't think Charlie would look at, when he was alive, he would look at his life and say, oh man, I wish I did that. No, he nailed it. And that's why I refer to him as the world's most disciplined man, because he knew the finish line for himself and he ran his own race. And I encourage everybody out there who feel overwhelmed because they're doing so many things and maybe chasing another person's definition of discipline and maybe saying yes when they should to say no, to simplify. The last thing I'll say, Vic, is that our book is a disguised version of the 80-20 principle, right? 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. And every single day, I become more focused on 80-20ing every aspect of my life.
I love that. So I was going to ask you, if someone could only remember one thing from the dark side of discipline, what would it be? But you cut to the chase. It's about really, few inputs dictate, the quality of your life.
Yeah, I would say the one thing, and we even say this in the book, that they could stop reading as soon as we mention this. It's discipline is putting a level 10 effort into your level 10 problem. And I think that that's the exercise for everyone to start with right now. Think about what are the biggest problems in your life. And it may be your children's behavior at school. It may be the people they hang around with. It may be a relationship with, your kids in college. It could be anything, right? But it's, what the thing is.
Yeah.
It's the thing where you're like, I don't want to deal with that, but you have to deal with that. And if you simply deal with that one thing, it will solve so many problems in your life. And it will open up time. It'll open up space in your brain to think about other things. But, you come home from work and you're frustrated because that business partner dispute, and you're snapping at your kids, and now your wife is all upset with you, or your husband is upset with you, and it's causing problems in your marriage because you won't sit down with your business partner and have the conversation. And look at what it's destroying. Now you don't go to the gym because you're so angry, or you're running out of, you don't have enough time, and you're fighting with your kids and your spouse at home, and you can't do your workouts, and you're eating poorly, and you're not sleeping well, all because you won't address your level 10 problem. And it's hard, obviously, but it's the most important thing that you can do. And if you commit to that, you're disciplined. That's
awesome. Where can people get a copy of the book? How could they work with you if they want to take their discipline to the next level? And how can they get into your ecosystem?
All great questions. So just like I think you did, Vic, reach out to me at Real Craig Ballantyne on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. I am on LinkedIn as well, so you can hit me up there. And then the book is available at darksideofdiscipline.com, darksideofdiscipline.com. We have some additional videos and bonuses that go with it. And it will also be available on Amazon. So hard copy, paperback, audiobook. I just finished the audiobook, and ebook as well. So it'll be everywhere. And my mission right now is it's not my level 10 problem. It's like my level 8 problem is to get everybody in the world to hear about this book, because I want to simplify their life, and I want to make sure that they don't kind of, destroy parts of their life by doing good things.
Awesome. Guys, darksideofdiscipline.com. That's where the book is. It's going to be on all the major platforms. You want to get into this guy's ecosystem. You want to read the book. A lot of his books have really been game changers for me. They've completely up-leveled my life in many categories. And now I'm a fervent believer in a lot of those principles, and I expand upon them with my community as well. So find him on Instagram, find him on LinkedIn, get the book, listen to the audio if you want to just do it while you're like running on the treadmill. And any last words, Craig?
It's my mission to help people with this, Vic. So if people are confused about figuring out their level 10 problem, or how do they solve the level 10 problem, man, just ask me. I just love helping people. And, so you can message me on those platforms or anytime, and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. Can't wait to see you guys soon at any of the retreats we're hosting, or on our online challenge, or any of the other opportunities we have to work together. Until next time, guys, be phenomenal.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Limitless MD. If you found value from this episode, I encourage you to share this episode with a friend and let me know by leaving a review. For more information, make sure you check out the links in the show notes below or simply visit vikramraya.com. Until next time, be phenomenal.